The following is a live presentation of Retro Sports Network. Home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. Sometimes the best laid plans of mice and men don't necessarily work out. Hello there, my name is Ron Chuckett. Welcome to the program for this 9th day of June, 2022. We are at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx for a battle between the New York Yankees in third place in the American League East and the Chicago White Sox, who are fourth or fifth in the American League West. The Yankees are 55-46. This is game 102 for them. For the White Sox, this is game number 100. They are 48-51. This was the NBC Game of the Week for August 3rd, 1985. However, in one of their in the contract between Major League Baseball and the National Broadcasting Company, they had a few primetime specials, and it's the one from last night, the 2nd of August in real life, that I'll remember forever. Sitting in a cottage in Silver Creek, New York, that was the night that Carlton Fisk tagged out 2 runners at the same time at home plate. Oh, I just felt so bad for the Yankees. Anyway, so the Yankees and White Sox going on today. Not the greatest matchup in the world, which is why we added a Brucey bonus, for some time over the weekend between the Red Sox and the Kansas City Royals. But for now, it's Ed Whitson versus Long, who doesn't have a good ERA. This might be one of those, okay, let's see how long we can go type deals for Chicago. So Yankees and the White Sox next. As Retro Sports Network presents 1985 Major League Baseball replay. Today, from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, it is the New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox. And today's game is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. And so it is Eddie Winston on the mound for the Yankees. And with a team that needs every win that they can, Whitson, who did not have a good time in New York, does seem to be the weak link in Billy Martin's rotation. He is 4-8 with a 6.32 ERA. Didn't hit that button. There we go. 30 years old, a fastball pitcher at 86, and a standard pitcher. He has 10 starts left, including today's whiz-banger. This is his third time out against the White Sox. 12 innings, 15 hits, 7 runs, all earned. He walked 2 and struck out 5. His last start came against the Indians in a 3-2 loss on July 29th. 6 innings, 101 pitches, 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned, a home run. He walked 3 and struck out 5. So overall for Ed, 121 innings, 156 hits, 85 runs, all earned, 15 homers. He's walked 43 while striking out 71. And this will be the lineup he'll face. Luis Salazar leads off for the White Sox in center field. Little. Is that Dave Little? I thought he was a Red. I didn't realize he was with the White Sox. Anyway, Little at second. He'll bat second. Harold Baines, a Hall of Famer in right field, will go third. Scott Walker, I think, is at first base. He'll clean up. Former Yankee favorite Oscar Gamble is a DH. Don't think the Afro is as big in 85 as it was in 77. Ron Kittle in left will go sixth. Tim Hewitt at third, bat seventh. Ozzie Guillen at short will bat eighth. And with this being the day game after the night game, let's just play one. But yeah, let's play two. It'll be Joel Skinner instead of Carlton Fisk, who, as we said in the open, tagged out 2 for the price of 1 in the Friday night game. Dan Pasqua is in left as we set the Yankee defense for you. He's an 8 and a 4. Ricky Henderson is a 7 and a who cares in center. Dave Winfield an 8 and an 8 in right. Mike Pagliarulo is a 5 at third. Bobby Meacham a 5 at short. Willie Randolph a 7 at second. Don Mattingly a 7 at first. Ron Hassey an 8 and a 3 behind the plate. Whitson is a 7 on the mound with an .889 fielding percentage. Salazar steps in at 250, 6 homers and 25 RBI. A hot, sticky August day in the Bronx. 88 degrees. What wind there is blowing in at from right center at 4. Whitson starts us off. Was strike 3. A 1-2 changeup, swung on and missed, 1 out. It's Dave's little brother Brian. Or big brother, I suppose. At second base for the White Sox, 276, 5 homers and 14 RBI. And since we know this is a Vin Scully game, pull up a chair and join us. How you doing, Steeler fan? Whitson winds and deals, and there's a fly ball right center field. Henderson moves over, and that's 2 out. For Harold Baines, Harold at 316, 16 homers, and 73 RBI. So we said the Yankees are 55 and 46, and they are looking up at the 6-2 and even tied Red Sox and Blue Jays. The White Sox have a positive run differential, but yet they're only 48 and 51. 2 out, pitch to Baines, line drive to Randolph, and that will retire the side. So, the White Sox go in order, no runs, no hits, and no errors. We go to the bottom of the first, it's no score. Zalapsky, Smurf, greetings and salutations, and of course, the Blue Jay fan is going to be rooting for the White Sox. How are you? However, Bill Long won't be long in this game. 25 years old. He's making his last start of the year. He has no record and an ERA of 4.63. In real life, however, a 10.29 ERA with 1 loss. So Yankee hitters are chomping at the bit here. His last start came against the Orioles, 5 2/3 and a 10-8 loss. 95 pitches, 6 hits, 5 runs all earned. 2 homers, he walked 1 and struck out 4. So overall, 11 2/3, 10 hits, 6 runs, all earned. The 2 homers to the Orioles. However, he has walked 2 while striking out 7. He is a fastball pitcher at 92 and a fly ball plus pitcher. But being a righty, that's not going to help him here in the big old ballpark in the Bronx. Ricky Henderson leads off for the Yankees in center field. Ken Griffey Knott Jr. is the DH. He'll bat second. Don Mattingly at first will go third. Dave Winfield cleans up in right. Dan Pasqua in left will bat fifth. And there'll be an Easter egg hunt in his honor after the game. Ron Hassey behind the plate will bat sixth. Willie Randolph at second bats seventh. Mike Pagliarulo at third goes eighth. Bobby Meacham at short will bat ninth. And Ed Whitson threw 9 pitches in his half of the first. He could go around 115. Defensively for the White Sox, Ron Kittle is a 2 and a 2 and left. That's bad. Luis Salazar is a 3 and a 3 in center. That's almost as bad. Harold Baines is a 5 and an 8 in right. Tim Hewlett, a 5 at third. Guillen is an 8 at short. Little, again, relation to Dave? I think so. Is a 3 at second. And Greg Walker, not Scott, Greg Walker is a 3 at first. So that White Sox defense is not great. Joel Skinner, a 5 and a 4 behind the plate, and Long doing his best Studley, Tom Selleck without a mustache impression with that hat, is a 4 on the mound with a 1,000 fielding percentage. He could go 85 pitches. That could be 2 innings. That could be 5. We'll see. Ricky at 325, 18 homers, and 53 RBI. The last time we had the Yankees on, by the way, Henderson hit an inside-the-park home run. Long starts the afternoon with ball 4, because obviously what you want to do with the fastest man in baseball is give him a walk. Aw, Steeler fan is not feeling well. Home test was negative, but my daughter and her boyfriend tested positive and they live with me. We all went to Walgreens yesterday for a PCR test. Should have the results tomorrow. I'm sorry to hear that. It was 10 days I really did not enjoy. So Griffey at 257, 6 homers and 40 RBI. At least your Astros had the big miracle last night, right? Henderson's going to go. Skinner's just going to sit there and go, yeah, you can have it. So that's 53 for Ricky. And with a 1-strike count to Griffey, the Yankees have a runner in scoring position. I'm glad you're feeling better today. Pitch to Ken. Into left center. Salazar moves over. And Louis will make the catch. Henderson goes back to tag. And he'll go to third without a throw. So speed kills. 1 out for Mattingly. Dawn at 331. 19 homers and 85 RBI. Maybe you can bring some luck to your 85 Astros here. The Reds did their part yesterday. They swept that doubleheader against the Dodgers. Pitch to Mattingly. Is a ground ball to Hewlett across the way. Ricky's going to score. Throw to Walker is in time, and the Yankees lead at 1-0. Good morning, Big Dave. How are you? Everyone in the same color except for Zalapsky Smurf. Dave Winfield at 258, 15 homers and 70 RBI. 2 out, nobody on. The Yankees have a run without a hit. Pitch to Winfield. That's into left. Kittle will try not to drop this and make the catch to retire the side. Yankees get a run on the walk to Ricky Henderson, and he wheeled his way around the bases. After 1-0 New York. You used all of your luck for the 85 Astros and his replay. They won that World Series, right? So here's Greg Walker doing his best impression of a Halloween mask in that picture. Greg is at 245, 12 homers and 50 RBI. Whitson starts the second with a foul tip that Hassey can't corral, and the count goes to 2-2. Beat the Yankees in 5. So that's pretty good. In 2 consecutive RJL replays, your Astros have made the World Series. I think, and I've said this before, the 2-2 to Walker. There's a line drive to right. That's going to get it down in the corner. Winfield got a bad jump. Greg is running for 2. The throw is cut off by Randolph. And that's Greg's 23rd double of the year. And that'll bring up the well-sheared Oscar Gamble at 188, 3 homers and 6 RBI. That if the Mets had lost Game 6 of the 86 Championship Series, they wouldn't have beat Mike Scott. And they knew they weren't going to beat Mike Scott. Oh, we did 76 and 81, too. Ah, we got ourselves a ban. Say goodbye, Set Flash. '81, they were a good team. Anyway, that if the Astros had made the World Series in '86, they would have won it. I don't think the Red Sox would have beat them. The only good thing was that it wouldn't have been Scott in Game 1. It probably would have been Ryan. Pitch to Gamble. That's into left. Pasqua, right up there in Death Valley, will make the catch. And Walker retreats and goes to third. Throw goes in the infield. 1 out. So the tying run on third for Ron Kittle. Kittle at 221, 15 homers and 41 RBI. Kittle hits a ground ball to Meacham. Bobby will take the show out at first, so Walker will score and tie the game. So 2 out for Tim Hewlett. Tim at 271, 5 homers, 34 RBI. We'll get you a taped game sometime over the weekend, Red Sox and Royals, as we start Brucey Bonus Baseball, or the old ABC Sunday afternoon games, as we try to cram as much baseball pennant race action in as we can. Nobody on. Hewlett reaches on a single. That gets past Meacham, and Pasco will pick it up. So 2 out for Guillen. By the way, Astros and Angels Game 7 tonight on RJL Network of the 79 series. And judging by what's happened on RJL's tabletop, I think that and 75 would have been the 2 best series in the decade. He has had, Steeler fan is going to need some heart-starting paddles, I think, by the time this one's over. Ozzie at 297, no homers and 26 RBI. Whitson delivers with 2 out. There's a fly ball to right. Winfield goes back, and that will retire the side. White Sox tied this one up on 2 hits, no errors. They leave a runner on. They go to the bottom of the second, 1-1. So Pasqua, Hasse, and Randolph to face Long here in the second. Dan at 278, 7 homers, and 15 RBI. Long starts the second with a fly ball to right. Baines in the corner, 1 out. And don't forget, speaking of RJL, you can vote for what his next season is going to be. 82 is one of those choices. And I'm always very curious, once I've done a season replay, to see what someone else would have done with it. And so for the very selfish reason, that would be my choice. Can he do with Steve Rogers and the Expos what I did with Steve Rogers and the Expos? Ron Hasse at 270, 9 homers, and 34 RBI. Long deals, and there's a fly ball to right, Baines in the corner, and Harold will track that down for the second out. Willie Randolph at 269, 3 homers, and 26 RBI. Dave and I are going to be talking about storytelling when all is said and done after this and the wifey gets ready for work. What storytelling things do you do for yourself in your own replays? I gave you Willie's numbers. Pitch from Long. There's a ground ball foul third base side. Hewlett flips it to someone from Skowhegan, Maine. 2-2 the count, 2 out. From the line. Randolph walked. You don't want to walk Randolph either. He's still got pretty good legs. So here's Pagliarulo, Mike at 227, 12 homers and 40 RBI. Willie, by the way, a threat to steal. And that's what we're going to do. Runner goes, Skinner throws down to Guillen, and Willie is in there. So that's his 11th of the year. The Yankees have stolen 2 bases. And Pagliarulo has a runner in scoring position in a 1-strike count. From the stretch, ball 4. Well, see, that stolen base was all for naught. So Long hasn't allowed a hit. That is, however, with 2 outs here in the second, his 3rd walk. Bobby Meacham at 199, a homer and 20 RBI. He's listed here as Bob Meacham, but I always remember him being referred to as Bobby. Into right center, Salazar comes in, and that will retire the side. The Yankees, again, no runs, no hits. They leave on 2, no errors. We go to the third, 1-1. So Joel, Skinner, Salazar, and Little to face Whitson here in the third. Skinner is just 1 for 7 on the replay. That's a 143 average with an RBI. In real life, 341, a homer, and 5 RBI as Carlton Fisk's backup the second half of the year. Steeler fan that had COVID previously, I got at the end of February 2020. And was sick until the first week of April. That was much worse than this. Well, at least you have the antibodies in your system. Pitch to Skinner. Line drive to Winfield. That's going to drop right in front of Dave. So Skinner leads off the third with a single. And that's the third White Sox hit. Brings up Salazar. Louis struck out to start the ball game. Whitson 33 pitches, 2 innings, 3 hits, and a strikeout. This time around, he drops one down. Hasse throws to Randolph, covering his first for the out. So the sacrifice goes down 2-4, and Skinner moves to second for Brian Little, who's 0 for 1. Whitson, part of a longer line of pitchers who came over to New York from a smaller market and just really had a hard time adjusting to the pressure cooker that is the New York Yankees and the city of New York. Pitched a Little. There's a ground ball to Randolph. Skinner goes to third, throw to first, and Little's retired. Randy Johnson struggled with the limelight of New York. Here's Baines. Harold is 0 for 1. And yet there are some people... Dave Winfield really struggled with the limelight of New York. Yet some people have thrived. Pitched. There's a sharp ground ball to Mattingly. Don underhands it to Whitson, and that will retire the side. So the White Sox leave that runner on. No runs, a hit, no errors. Bottom 3 at the stadium, 1-1. So Ricky Henderson, who stole his 53rd base and scored in the first for New York after his walk, will face Bill Long. Long 37 pitches, 2 innings, and 3 walks. The run is earned. This time around, Henderson swings. That's into left. Kittle over in the corner, and Ron is there to make the catch, 1 out. Brings up Ken Griffey Jr. No, Ken Griffey, not Jr. Ron. He's 0 for 1. Speaking of Mr. Gardner, he had those itsy-bitsy spiders on, and Cleveland did what they do so well in that season, and lose. Into right. Back goes Baines, away back into right field, and that ball is gone. So Griffey puts one in the first deck. You can all hum Cotton Eye Joe to yourself, and the Yankees go up 2-1. For Griffey, that's his 7th of the year. And Long left that one well over the plate. And the Yankees take advantage. So on this 90-degree day in the Bronx, the wind from that cooled off a few fans. And remember, every 90-degree day on Retro Sports Network, the fans in the bleachers get a free ice cream sandwich from Hood, because you can feel good about Hood. So Mattingly, sack fly in the first. Yep, Tribe fan, although in 1985, George Kenneth Griffey Jr. might have had some buzz. Well, what he did with his buddies after school isn't really my business now, is it? Actually, yeah, that would have been his sophomore year of high school. Drafted in 87. Did he go to Moeller in Cincinnati? Although at this point, I'm sure he's in New York. Pitch to Mattingly. There's a fly ball to left. Kittle comes in to make the catch, 2 out. Here's Winfield. Dave's 0 for 1. I think Tribe Fan yesterday got sucked into that meeting he didn't want to hear. He said hello, and that was the last I saw him for the next 2 hours. Winfield struck him out. He caught the inside corner, and Winfield is just shaking his head. But the Yankees get the solo shot from Griffey on a hit and no errors. We go to the 4th, 2-1. Born the same day, Tribe Fan says, as Stan Musial in Denora, Pennsylvania. That's a pretty good birthday to have. Here's Greg Walker. Greg doubled and scored in the second, 1 for 1. Whitson starts the inning. A fly ball to right. Back goes Winfield away back there, and we are tied. Yeah, not the same. Oh, same city. Okay. So Walker ties this one up at 2 for his 13th of the year. Steeler fan fell asleep, so Walker deposits this one in the seats. You know what? We did that doubleheader yesterday, and I don't think we had a home run. So a Steeler fan kind of going for what my wife says of just being a future C-SPAN host and putting people to sleep. Here's Gamble. Oscar's 0 for 1. 2-2 the score. A Tribe fan needs to work the coffee. Gamble into left field. Pasqua comes in for the out. So 1 out for Kittle. Ron has an RBI. Whitson winds and deals. Struck him out. A 2-2 fastball in there at the knees for the second out. That's 2 for Whitson. And that'll bring up Hewlett. Timmy singled his first time up. So 2-2 now. 2 solo home runs down the short porch and right. Line drive to Randolph. And that will retire the side. I know that Steeler fan. But my wife gives me crap too. So the White Sox get a solo homer. And we go to the bottom of the 4th. It's the White Sox 2, the Yankees 2. Jamie says, when I was a kid, Ron Kittle yelled at me. Oh, and a friend for distracting him while he was hitting off a tee. Ron Kittle played in my birth hometown, the city I was born in, Glens Falls, New York. Because when Glens Falls came into the Eastern League, it was a member of the Chicago White Sox organization, and those very interesting black or navy blue or those things that were horrible. All right, here's a look at the standings. The Dodgers got swept in that doubleheader by the Reds, and so Cincinnati and Houston are in a flat-footed tie, 13 games behind the Dodgers, and everyone else is looking for football in San Francisco, San Diego, and Atlanta. In the East, St. Louis's margin is still a rather safe 10.5. The Mets are 17.5. They've fallen back under 500. Cubs have found some life. They've won 5 straight. And the Steelers and the Eagles are waiting for football. In the American League West, Kansas City now has a 6-game lead over Oakland, 7 over California, 8.5 over these White Sox. And in the East, Boston and Toronto are tied. You'll see Boston and Kansas City over the weekend. The Yankees 4.5 back. Baltimore 5.5 back. The Tigers are 6 back. All over 500. Yeah, those are bad. The 85 ones that you see up there on the left, gray for the road and white at home, the ultimate in softball uniform wear. You can buy them at Bill and Edna's Polyester Palace Pascual, by the way, is 0 for 1. Dan hits a fly ball to right. Baines moves over and will make the catch, 1 out. It's a pretty good era to grow up in as far as minor league baseball was in the mid-'80s. You had, in Glens Falls, the White Sox. The Yankees had switched with Oakland, and so the Yankees Double-A franchise or facility was in Albany, New York. The Albany Colony Yankees, they opened up a new stadium, and in Burlington, up here where I am now, were the Reds. Barry Larkin, Paul O'Neill, and now the Northeast is pretty much considered too small for Eastern League ball. Hasse is 0 for 1. Long deals, and there's a ground ball past Guillen. Kittle picked that up, and Ron has a single. Just a second hit for the Yankees, the other being the solo shot from Griffey. Here's Randolph. He walked and stole a base. Pitch to Willie. There's another base hit. Baines will cut it off in the alley. Hasse really doesn't have much speed, so he'll hold at second. So Mike Pagliarulo at the plate. Mike walked. So Long, again, not the world's best pitcher, but looks dreamy on the posters on the walls of every teenage girl in the town he grew up in. Pitch to Pags. Into right. Baines in the corner goes into that little bit of foul territory to make the catch for the out. Hasse will tag and go to third. Baines just flings it back in. And so the Yankees have runners on the corners, 2 out for Meacham. Bobby's 0 for 1. Hasse on third. Randolph on first. Skinner and Long have a few words. From the stretch, Meacham pops it up. Salazar rides the Schwinn in right center, and that will retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, no errors. After 4, we go to the 5th. It's 2-2. So Guillen, Skinner, and Salazar to face Whitson, and Whitson pitching well, like a Whitson should. How you doing, Forrest? Ozzy's 0 for 1. There's a liner in the right. That's extra bases. Winfield will fish it out. Guillen going for 3. And Ozzy's in there with a hook slide. That's his 5th triple of the year. And with nobody out here in the 5th, the tying run or the go-ahead run is on for Joel Skinner, who singled his first time up. There's a base hit. So Guillen will score. That gets down in front of Pascual and left. And on a game where the White Sox starter had a real-life earned run average of nearly 10.5. But here we are in the 5th, and the White Sox now lead the Yankees 3-2. And Zalapsky Smurf is ringing his cowbell for that one. Steeler fan, 1933, being the model gentleman fan that he is, said circa 1992, Paul O'Neill turned towards me and some friends and grabbed his junk because we were harassing him at the Astrodome. Paul O'Neill causes a lot of nightmares for MLB TV users because they show his kick the ball to Benzinger at first play about 95 times a game. Salazar struck out his first time up. Into left center. Henderson moving over, but that ball is well hit. But Ricky's there. It's Death Valley for a reason. And Skinner goes back to first. That brings up Brian Little. Whitson is opening 19, 4 in the 3rd innings, 69 pitches, 6 hits, the home run to Walker, and 2 strikeouts. All 3 runs are earned. Pitch to Little, who's 0 for 2. Struck him out. That's 3 for Ed. He swung on and seriously again. 0-2 fastball, swung on and missed. And Alex 145 CD You make America work, and this band's for you. So here's Baines. Harold is 0 for 2. Base hit right side. Winfield will pick it up. Skinner stops at second. And that'll bring up Walker. Walker has a double and a homer. If you're wondering, he does have 4 real-life triples. There is an outside shot here in the 5th that he has a chance for the cycle. So Skinner on second, Baines on first. Pitch to Walker. Struck him out. But the White Sox go ahead. 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors. Halfway home on a rainy Thursday here in Burlington. 3-2 White Sox. So if you joined us late, here's how we got here. The White Sox are up 3-2 in the bottom of the 5th. Don Mattingly got the Yankees on the board in the first with a fielder's choice to make it 1-0. Ron Kittle with a fielder's choice in the second to tie the game at 1. The Yankees went ahead in the third on a solo shot to right from Ken Griffey to make it 2-1, his 7th of the year. And immediately Greg Walker tied the ball game with his 13th down the line and right to make it 2-2, and then Joel Skinner singled home Ozzie Guillen in the 5th to make it 3-2. And this game summary presented by, if you want followers and all that on Twitch, go to imasucker.com and just blindly give money to someone who isn't going to do a damn thing for you. That's imasucker.com. How you doing, Utah Mike? So Long, who really shouldn't be pitching all that well, has done just fine and dandy, thank you. 3 hits through 4, the 2 runs, and the home run by Griffey. Whitson, again, him in New York were oil and vinegar. 5 innings, 7 hits so far, 3 runs and the homer to Walker. Whitson was man year 85 replay, but the lights out in my postseason. Really? He just couldn't ever get it together in New York. Ricky Henderson can, though. So Long, 18 batters, 74 pitches, 4 innings, 3 hits, a homer. That was to Griffey, who's on deck. He's walked 3, including Mr. Henderson, and struck out 1. Ricky has stolen his 53rd today when he walked to start the ball game. That's a base hit in the left center field. Salazar picks it up, throws it to Guillen. And Ricky is about to take number 54. Griffey homered his last time up in the 3rd. His 7th of the year. He's now driven in 41. Long goes to the plate. Henderson is halfway to Cleveland as the throw goes into center field. And so Ricky has turned that into on the 3rd with nobody out. So Skinner threw that one away. First error for the White Sox. And the tying run is on. Nobody out for Griffey. So Henderson has stolen 2 bases. Now can he convert it into his 2nd run? Pitch to Griffey. Got him! An 0-2 fastball swung on and missed. Brings up Mattingly, who is on a 9-game hitting streak. 0 for 2. Grounded into a fielder's choice to score Henderson in the 1st. Long delivers. Got him! A 1-2 curve that had Mattingly fooled. And Long, look at that real-life ERA, 10.29. Well, he's got the Yankees on a pull cord today. Here's Winfield. Dave 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Long deals. Gets away from Skinner, and Henderson will tie the game. So the 0-2 curve missed low and in, and Ricky didn't need an excuse to score. And so this one is knotted at 3. Pitch to Winfield. Dave sends that one into left. Kittle will snare it, and that will retire the side. Yankees, again, Ricky Henderson manufactures his own run. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error. We go to the 6th. 3-3. Has Seaver gotten his 300th win? That would actually be tomorrow, wouldn't it? You think he needed 12? So, no, it would not be tomorrow. That's right, I'd forgotten that was there. I listened to that one on the radio in New York. So, Seaver could get 299 tomorrow. August 4th. And then he'd have to wait past the strike. So he could do it August 9th against Milwaukee. So remind me to check if he actually does get 299. So his shots at it, he could do it as soon as August 9th against Danny Darwin. August 20th against Kansas City against Bud Black, and both of those games would be in Chicago. And then August 24th would be possibly his 3rd time at that against Toronto and Dave Stieb. And if he needs a 4th chance, it would be August 29th at home against Bert Hooton and the Rangers. And I got to be careful what I do there. So he's 10-9. So here's Gamble. Oscar's 0 for 2. 3-3, top the 6th. Gamble to Pagliarulo over across the way for the out. The Yankees, I'd forgotten that was that same weekend, were so gracious to Seaver when he won his 300. They invited Lindsey Nelson to sit in the TV booth that day, and so it was Nelson who called the final out. Scooter Day tomorrow, huh? So Lindsey Nelson called the final outs of Seaver's 300th win. Again, such a fantastic gesture. And there were flowers and champagne by Seaver's locker after the ballgame. Here's Kittle. Ron is 0 for 2. Has struck out and driven in a run, his 42nd. 3-3, 1 out here in the 6th. Kittle flies this one to center. In comes Henderson for the out. And NBC's luck, this was the game that they showed. So Tim Hewlett, 1 for 2 with a single. And of course, Carlton Fisk caught game number 300. Yeah, Rose broke the record on September 11th. And I don't know how many hits he had going into that. That probably wouldn't be too difficult to find. Whitson deals. Struck him out. That's 5 for Ed. Hewlett goes down, and after 5.5, no runs, no hits, no errors. It's the White Sox 3, the Yankees 3. So Pasqua, Hassey, and Randolph, and I can't imagine that Long is long for this game. Pasqua 0 for 2. Into right. Baines backing up. Way back there. And that ball is gone. If you had a ticket in the right deck, in right field, that's your 3rd home run ball of the day. And the Yankees go up 4-3. So Pasqua slams his 8th of the year. The fact that Long gave the White Sox 5 innings, considering his real-life numbers, is nothing short of an Easter egg. So here's Hasse. Ron is 1 for 2 with a single. And there's a line drive right center. That's to the wall. Hasse's got 2. He's not going to stop there. Guillen throws it to third. Hewlett puts on the tag, and Ron has a triple. So the Yankee fans are pretty happy. And here comes Bob James. Again, the White Sox closer coming in with nobody out in the 6th. Although James can throw 50 pitches. He is 7-4 with 16 saves and an earned run average of 263. This is his 40th appearance. He's 27 years old, a fastball pitcher at 91 and a ground ball pitcher. Against the Yankees, it's his 5th appearance, 5 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned. He has walked 3 while striking out 4 with a save. He last pitched against the Red Sox on the 1st, landing the save. 1 inning, 11 pitches. He allowed a hit and a strikeout. So overall, 61 2/3, 54 hits, 18 runs, all earned. He has given up 3 homers, walked 11, while striking out 51. Not a save situation. The Yankees are up 4-3 here in the 6th. Randolph is 1 for 1. He has singled, walked, and stolen a base. Hasse on third. That will make it a 5-3 game as Randolph punches that one into center. That brings up Pagliarulo. Mike is 0 for 1 with a walk. Randolph will what? A balk? That's a balk. And Tony La Russa is not very happy. James did not stop. He looked at first and went right home. And so Randolph goes to second. There is still nobody out. And the Yankees now lead 5-3. Pitch to Pags. Popped up. Right side. Mr. Little. 1 out. Brings up Bobby Meacham, who's 0 for 2. 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Yankees. They've left on 4. 3 runs, 7 hits, an error for the White Sox, and they've left on 4. Meacham, I'm going to drop one here. He's 0 for 2. Bunt is down. Skinner throws to first, and Randolph goes to third. All right, Rose needed 95 hits and 85 for the record. Niekro needs 16 wins for 300. Well, we can tell you how many Niekro has. Niekro needs 5 wins to get to 300. Sutton needs 20. He might get that in Oakland. Carew needed 71 hits to 3,000. And Reggie should have passed Ott and Matthews and homers by now. So 2 out for Ricky. It was 2 steals today. Ricky is 1 for 2. Walked, stolen 2 bases, and scored twice. James deals, and Ricky sends this one into left center. Salazar should track it down. And that's it. But the Yankees put on 2. On 3 hits and no errors. So we go to the 7th at the stadium, 5-3 New York. So Guillen, Skinner, and Salazar. Whitson could probably get through the 7th. Ozzie has a triple. He's 1 for 2. And he scored 1 of the 3 runs. There's a ground ball base hit right side. Winfield to pick it up. And the White Sox have the tying run at the plate for Joel Skinner, who has singled twice and driven in a run. Whitson from the wind, or from the stretch. Struck him out. That's 6. Checked his swing on a 1-2 fastball. and there is one out for Salazar, who is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Opening 27 for Whitson, 6 1/3, 101 pitches, 8 hits. The home run to Walker. All 3 runs are earned, and Ed has struck out 6 now. Salazar strikes out. That's 7. So a 2-2 looking on the change. 2 out for Brian Little, who is 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Throw to first. Guillen back. And now concentrate on Little. Whitson deals. Got him for number 8 for Ed. Stretch time, 5-3 New York. So on a hot, sticky afternoon in the Bronx, where even the pickle Rick would get stuck to all the wrong places, 92 degrees. Remember, everybody in the bleachers gets a hoodie cup from Hood, the official dairy of the Boston Red Sox. You can feel good about Hood. Ken Griffey is 1 for 3. If you're sitting out there underneath the deck in right field on the first deck, you've had 3 balls come your way. And Zach Kemple isn't there, so you got a chance to catch him. Pitch to Griffey. Popped up. Center field. Salazar. 1 out. Bob James in his second inning of work now. Here is Mattingly. Don is 0 for 3. He has struck out and driven in his 86th of the year. Game 102 for the Yankees, 100 for the White Sox. Struck him out. A swing and a miss on a fastball on a 1-2 count. And that brings up Winfield. Dave is 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Baines, Walker, and Gamble in the 8th for the White Sox. Winfield sends out one into left. Kittle in the corner. Ron's got room and will make the catch to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the 8th, 5-3 New York. Talking about milestones in 85, Nolan Ryan was 126 strikeouts from 4,000. Did that against the Mets and Danny Heap. And Carlton hit 128. Harold Baines will face a new pitcher as Dave Righetti will come in. Rags 3 and 4 on the replay, 19 saves, but a rather elementary 4.44 ERA. He has converted, however, 19 of his 22 chances. Righetti is 27. Throws the fastball at 95 and is a ground ball plus pitcher. This will be his 6th appearance against the White Sox. 8 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs, 4 earned. He has walked 5 and struck out 10 and has 2 saves. Would a 4.44 be the Moses Maloney ERA? Yes, yes, yes. Very good, Tribe fan. He pitched all 3 games against Cleveland, including the loss on the 31st, which was his last time out. Faced 3 batters, didn't retire anybody on 11 pitches, and gave up the winning run. 48 2/3 for Righetti, 52 hits, 27 runs, 24 earned. The 1 home run came against the Tigers on June 20th. 27 walks, 52 strikeouts are going to make Mr. LaRusso used the bench here. Won't be for Baines, however. Harold is 1 for 3 with a single. We start the 8th with a ground ball to Mattingly. Don underhands it to Righetti, 1 out. For Walker, who I imagine might get pinch hit for, he has a double and a homer, however. He is 2 for 3. Slammed his 13th of the year into right, and now is driven in 51. He has 2, by the way, of the 3 runs that Chicago has on the board. Stays in the game, into right center. Henderson rides the Schwinn, 2 out. And now you know Gamble's not going to stay in the game. But he's 0 for 3. And Reed Nichols came over from the Boston Red Sox. He is 10 for 20. That's a .500 average. He has 2 doubles and a homer while driving in 6. Kittle on deck should Nichols reach. Righetti deals, and Nichols draws the walk. So the 3-0 curve missed high and inside. That'll bring up Kittle, who's the tying run. Ron is 0 for 3. He has an RBI. That came on a fielder's choice and struck out. So Nichols on first. Righetti deals. Kittle slaps out 1 to third, and Pagliarulo can't play it. He kicked it. The Cosmos moved out of here in 76 there, Pags. They moved across the river. And so that's the first Yankee error. And that'll bring up Hewlett, who was 1 for 3. A single and a strikeout. So Nichols on second, Kittle on first. Righetti trying to get a 6-out save. Ground ball to Randolph. Willie over to first, and that will retire the side. So it does not hurt the White Sox strand 2. No runs, no hits, and error. Go to the bottom of the 8th, 5-3 Yankees. So Pasqua, Hassey, and Randolph to face Bob James. 3 runs, 8 hits, and error for the White Sox. They've left on 7. The Yankees, 5 runs, 7 hits, and error, and they've left on 5 so far. Pasqua 1 for 3. Strikes out. A full count fastball swung on and missed. So James is struck out 2. Brother Bill is analyzing the whole affair. Here's Hassey. Ron is 2 for 3. Hit a triple. And by God, he had one in real life, too. And scored. That came in the 6th. Line drive, right field. Baines. And that will drop in front of Harold. So that's a single. So Hassey's had himself a day. 3 for 4. Randolph is 2 for 2. Stolen base, 2 singles, and an RBI, number 27. And there's a liner in the right. Baines isn't going to get that one either. So Hassey will stay at second. And so first and second for the Yankees, 1 out for Pagliarulo, who got away with a bad error in the top of the inning. Mike is 0 for 2 with a walk. Skinner goes out to chat with James. Got him! A full count curve that painted the black, 2 out. Bob looks over above the White Sox dugout and asks Bill if that is a wind share or not. Here's Beecham. Bobby is 0 for 2. So first and second, 2 out. It'll be Guillen, Skinner, and Salazar for the White Sox in the 9th. Pitch to Meacham. Struck him out. So he ends up with 4. Swung on and missed. And the Yankees leave on a couple insurance runs. No runs, 2 hits, no errors. We go to the 9th, 5-3, New York. So Guillen, Skinner, and Salazar scheduled to face Righetti. Ozzie is 2 for 3 with a triple and a single and a run scored. And Scott Fletcher will pinch hit. Scott, as a pinch hitter, hitting Moses Malone. 4. That's my favorite number, by the way. 4-4-4. He's driven in 2 as a pinch hitter. Overall, 305. And Alberto will tell you to put that in his hair, almost. No homers and 16 RBI. Righetti winds and deals. There's a ground ball to Meacham behind the bag. Over to first, 1 out. So the Yankees, 2 outs away from win number 56. Here's Skinner. 2 for 3. A single twice, an RBI, and a strikeout. And he walked him. For Luis Salazar, who was 0 for 3. He has, however, struck out twice. And Righetti, tying himself into a pickle, Rick, here. Tying run is up. Salazar has some power, by the way. He has 6 home runs on the replay. Righetti's pitch. There's a base hit left field. Pascual will pick it up. So first and second, 1 out. And you better believe there's going to be a pinch hitter here for Brian Little, who was 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Jerry Harrison gets the call. Jerry wearing that stylish White Sox home hat. And remember, Softball City has all your White Sox attire. That's Softball City. Right next to Pino's Bar and Grill. And how do you know where that is? That's the giant Miller High Life sign there. Harrison as a pinch hitter, 250, a homer, and 4 RBI. Overall, 268, 3 homers and 10 RBI. So the White Sox have the tying run on first and the go-ahead run at the plate. But a double play wins it for the Yankees. So Righetti in a spot here in the 9th. 1 out. That might be 2. Meacham has to reach over. They'll get at least 1 out of the deal. Randolph for 1. They do not throw to first. Or the throw is late to first. And so now it's runners on the corners for Harold Baines. So they get the runner on second. Or going to second. Harrison has no speed. So Righetti to face Baines. Harold is 1 for 4 with a single. And this is a last chance saloon for the White Sox. Righetti trying to get his nail-down save, number 20. On a hot, nasty day in New York. Pitch to Baines. There's a ground ball to Righetti. Off the mound to his left. Throws to his right. Mattingly is there, and the Yankees have won it by a score of 5-3. It was tight there for a moment, but Righetti nailed it down. 5 runs, 9 hits, an error for the Yankees. They go to 56 and 46. They leave on 7. The Chi Sox, 3-9-1. They moved to 48 and 52, and with leaving 2 runners on in the 9th, they left 9. Righetti is not the game MVP. Ed Whitson, 7 innings. He goes to 5 and 8. 8 hits, 3 runs all earned. The home run to Walker, and he struck out 8. You know what? I think Whitson's our MVP, to be honest. Dave Righetti landed the save beside himself. 2 innings, a hit, 2 walks. Long, 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned. The homers to Griffey and Pasqua. There, that was it. 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. James, 3 innings, 3 hits, and 4 strikeouts. He had plus stuff. So the Yankees, for the moment, are 4 games back. And the White Sox fall to 9 games back. And so the rest of the Saturday in baseball starts in Toronto, where the Rangers beat the Blue Jays 5-2. Dave Rozema goes to 3-4. Jimmy Key falls to 8-7. Gary Ward is 7th of the year. He went 3 for 4 with a double as well. Tigers shut down The Brewers 4-0. Dan Petrie goes to 13-8. Danny Darwin falls to 8-12. Darrell Evans, as soon as it comes back, with his 19th of the year, went 2 for 3 in the battle. The Mets beat the Cubs 13-5. Oof. Despite Ron Darling and company walking 10 batters. But the Mets pound out 19 hits. The corpse of Dick Ruffin falls to a 1-11. George Foster 3 for 5, drives in 5. He hits his 18th of the year. Mariners shut out the A's 5-0. Mike Moore goes to 10-8. Mr. Kruger goes to 6-6. Stormin Gorman Thomas 1 for 2, his 16th of the year, drives in 3. Mike Krukow goes the route for the Giants. They shut out the Braves 3-0. Mike is 11-8. Rick Mailer 11-10, and he will be the guest of Mean Gene Offerman on Georgia Championship Wrestling immediately following the Braves game on TBS. Montreal 11-2 over Pittsburgh. Bryn Smith found his Fritos. He's now 8-6. McWilliams falls to 4-11. Claudel Washington 3 for 5, or one of the Washingtons, the second of the year, drives in 3. Dodgers make up for being swept yesterday. The Reds commit 4 errors, and Bob Welch beats Mario Soto 6-3. Welch is 5-2. Soto falls to 7-9, and Parker 2 for 4 with a triple. Cleveland beats Baltimore 10-6. Wardle, no, not Wordle, Wardle 1-0. Boddicker falls to 10-9. Floyd Rayford 2 for 3, 3 RBI. He hit his 9th of the year. By the way, you can find him on Facebook. San Diego beats Houston. Sorry, Steeler fan, 8-6. Eric Schau goes to 12-4. Gossage picks up his 12th save. Frank DePino goes to 2-3. However, St. Louis, that lead is now under 10 because the Phillies beat him 8-5. Jerry Koosman goes to 4-10. Kirk Kepshire 7-9. Rick Shue, it fit that day, 4 for 5, his 6th of the year, and drives in 3. Royals beat the Red Sox 5-4-10. Dan Quisenberry 6-6. Steve Crawford 3-4. Bill Buckner having a tremendous year for the Red Sox, 3 for 4, 2 RBI, and a double. That's the tape offering over the weekend, by the way. Minnesota beats the Angels 6-1. Bert Blyleven, in his Minnesota debut, goes to 1-0. Van Cliburn plays the piano well, but Stu took the loss. He goes to 101. Kent Herbeck on Rock Gant's Christmas card list, 1 for 4, his 16th of the year, and drives in 4. Cardinals by 9.5 now over the Expos. The Dodgers are now 14 up on Houston and Cincinnati. The Red Sox and Jays remain tied. The Yankees 3.5, Detroit 5, the Orioles 5.5, and Kansas City now has a 7-game bulge in the West. 10th worst all-time World Series champion? Well, you got to win one to be a bad one. Anyway, I'm Ron Juckett. We're taping Digital Dice pretty soon. Have yourself a wonderful day, everybody. So long.